The illustrious Jabba bids you welcome. I'm going to regret this.
I'm Pete Mitchell. He's Peyton Jones. And this is the Church Planter Podcast, brought to you by Church Planter Magazine. Hey, Church Planter. This is Pete Mitchell.
And this is Peyton Jedi Jones.
And welcome to the Star Wars podcast.
Yeah, it's that time, guys. If you are a fan of the podcast, you know that we've been running 6 years, and we've had quite a few Star Wars releases during that time. Let's see, we had episode 7, one that will not be named. We had Solo, and we had your personal favorite, Pete.
Rogue One.
Yeah, baby.
That was good.
It was good. You know, first time I saw it, I was like, yeah, it was all right. I felt like I remember saying, I felt like I watched 3 different movies. Then I went back and watched it, and I was like, holy crap, that was good. And even now, like, I would say
Stormtroopers and AT-AT in Hawaii cannot go wrong. That's all I'm saying. You just can't go wrong.
But it's that masterpiece of a scene that still shows Vader, which we never got to see. Vader in all of his combat glory. I mean, that is just like, that's what we always wanted to see. Not him toying with Luke because he doesn't want to kill Luke, but him like Vader the Destroyer. It's like, whoa, you know?
Yeah, that was good stuff.
Holy cow. Stuff. Like I've been waiting all my life to see what Vader could actually do. And he's just cutting through people like they're nothing, you know? And you're like, okay, that's why he's a Sith Lord, you know?
Yeah. So what's going to be our church planting topic?
Star Wars, because let's talk about it, Pete. Really, we know that when we find Luke in the episode that shall not be named, he's really portrayed as a failed church planter.
No, we find him in The Force Awakens, which was fun. We liked Force Awakens.
We liked that. He was hiding out. He was just waiting for his, you know, he was being a little coy. You know, he was in some missional engagement. And he was, you know, when we come into episode 8, which will not be named, he is a failed church planter. He tried it, he gave up, it didn't work, and he's in hiding, licking his wounds.
Yeah, episode 8 really was not the real story of Luke Skywalker. That was some idiot writer, director who just, you know, he thought he knew better, and he was going to change the entire saga because it didn't bend to him. He got participation trophies growing up. You can just tell that based on the movie.
Okay, so I have a theory about that. And you got to hear me out on this because you're going to totally disagree, but just hear me out and then disagree. Here's the deal. And by the way, church planter, coming into this, whenever a new movie comes out, we have a special episode. Right, like for the Star Wars film, because we're us. Their podcast might be like, hey, we don't want to do that to our audience. No, we totally do want to do that to our audience. So if you're not a Star Wars person, you're not a church planter. Just move along, find another podcast. But here's my theory. My theory is that Rian Johnson may not be the devil that we think he is.
No, he totally is.
Yeah. So hear me out.
No.
Remember.
La.
I've worked with you 6 years. I know you. I can read you like a book. That's why I'm like, hear me out.
Nope. La.
I'm not listening to you. Finger in my ears. So here's the deal, right? I think that he and JJ may have had a little bit more Russian collusion than we may actually believe.
Russian collusion. There's a 448-page document that just came out today that shows there was no Russian collusion between Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams.
Yes, but what kind of pressure did Disney put on them to release that document and come to those findings? Corruption within the corruption.
If you read the 4-page summary, you would have already known that.
So here's the deal. I think because I was talking with a millennial about this, right? Like when Empire ends, we're like, oh crap, they've frozen Han Solo, and we don't know if he's dead. Like people don't remember. We didn't think he was frozen. We thought they said, oh, there's signs of life, but people didn't usually survive that. No one had ever been frozen in carbonite. He was a test for Luke, so that sucked. Luke got his butt kicked by Vader. He can't take him on. That sucked. Gets his hand cut off. That sucks. He's becoming more like Vader. So when he reveals like he's his father, we're like, dude, that sucks because A, we don't know if it's true. He could just be messing with his head. But the reality is, if he is his son, that makes him weaker. Like people forget the psychology of how that affected us back in the 80s. And we're like, oh, well, if he's his dad, then he really can't stand against him. He's going to get turned, And so even in the scene where, you find out that Luke and Leia are twins, you're like, well, is Luke going to fall and Leia's going to, you don't know. Like people forget that we didn't know what in the heck was going to happen. We hadn't lived this saga before. Now we have the benefit of going back and finding like patterns and similarities and figuring it out. And that's what I want to do. I kind of want to do a Star Wars tinfoil hat edition today, talking about where it's going to go. Because I think I think he may have purposefully misled us to leave us in the same place we were at in Empire. Aside from the fact that it was a total crap movie that could have been a standalone like, the others. You could have just stripped Luke out of it. Maybe it could have just been a standalone Star Wars film like Solo or Rogue One. It really wasn't a part of that saga. I don't think he made a great film. But I do think there's more intent on misleading us in the same way that Empire did.
Listening audience, what Peyton doesn't know is that earlier I was recording him, and I actually have a clip of what Peyton was saying, not to me, but to Ryan Johnson. Here it is.
What is thy bidding, my master?
So, and like I said, I'm not a fan, but I got some theories about this trailer. First off, let's hear your thoughts on this trailer.
I don't really care. Like literally, Ryan Johnson ruined it for me. I don't care. I was looking at that going, seriously, guys, we're going to do the whole same trailer that you basically did for The Force Awakens. Oh, she's in the desert. Oh, yee. I'm like, whatever. I don't even care. I don't care.
But you like 7, right?
7 was good.
Yeah, 7 was good.
It wasn't
to
great,
me, 7
but it was
felt
good.
More like an original Star Wars film than the prequels did.
Oh, the prequels were just horrendous.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan, personally. I do like Episode 3. I think we've established that before. But I liked 7 better than 3. So for me, it used to go Empire, Jedi, then Revenge of the Sith. Now it goes Empire, Jedi, Force Awakens. And I have a feeling it's then going to go Force Awakens, The Rise of Skywalker, because I can already tell. Like, the Force is strong with this one. I can tell.
So whose kid do you think she is?
Oh, okay, so now we're getting into it.
Because, I mean, the whole Rise of Skywalker focused on her. She's got to be the Skywalker. So whose kid is she?
She's Luke's.
That's what I think, too. So who's the mother?
Mara Jade.
I don't even know who that is.
So, okay, so I got to tell you all my crazy theories about this. Mara Jade was the hand of the Emperor. That is who, in the novels, Luke goes on to marry. And he has twins, which leads to my
just
theory.
Like Leia?
Just like Leia and Luke. And I don't think, personally, that Kylo Ren is Leia and Han's son. I think that Kylo Ren is Luke's son. And Rey is Luke's daughter, that they are twins. That's why their connection is so strong. Now, hear me out on this. Why would Luke be so upset when he loses his star pupil? He wouldn't. We all know that. It would have been like, okay, you're a bonehead. Luke knew this was his son. He split up his kids when they were born to protect them from the Emperor. Because Mara Jade...
What Emperor?
Palpatine. I think Luke knows that Palpatine's still around.
No, that's just stupid.
I think he knows.
No.
Whoa, that's Palpatine's laugh at the end of the trailer.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's still stupid. I think he added the laugh because somewhere someone found a holocron and like played a recording with him.
That could be. That could absolutely be. And they could do flashbacks. So his laugh in it could be a flashback scene. However, when they find, this is what I believe, when you see in the trailer that broken piece of the Death Star on that island, in the ocean, and it's sticking up. Do you remember that?
No, I don't. I didn't care about the trailer. I was like,
interesting.
This is horrid.
Interesting, Pete Mitchell. This is you and I were clearly very wounded by episode 8.
I really was.
We're like Luke. We've become like Luke. We're like hiding out going, yeah, I didn't know. I'm done. That's the joke Rian Johnson played on us. But I have hope. You see, a new hope awakens. See what I did there?
Yeah, I do, and that was horrid.
It was great. I'm a dad.
Please don't ever do that again.
It's in line with dad jokes. You and I are getting good at those. We're dads.
Oh, really? I'm telling you.
But here's the thing: is that episode 9 now. I think the Emperor preserved himself on that little piece, and that's why they're going there. Because here's my theory about Snoke. I think Snoke the whole time has been a Force projection, and just like Luke was a Force projection, a hologram. I think Snoke was a hologram, and that the Emperor was manipulating Kylo through being Snoke. I think Snoke was a fabrication. He was never real.
So Snoke was a Force projection that was then transmitted. That doesn't
just
even
like
make
Luke.
Any sense. That just
literally
if you
doesn't
think
make any
Luke
sense. Can do it, then of course, because remember, Luke studied the dark side of the Force.
Well,
so he knows all the Sith tricks.
You don't know that.
Oh, I do know that.
No, you don't.
I do.
You're just making up. Oh, look, I read this in a comic book one time somewhere, some way, and therefore it must be true. No.
It is in the comic.
The movies are the canon. Movie. That's it. The movies.
Well, let's go to the canon. You can't pull in
this other stuff.
You shouldn't even challenge me. Listen, in Return of the Jedi, what does he do? He force chokes a Gamorrean guard.
So what?
No Jedi ever force chokes.
What are you talking about?
Not legit.
You don't know that. He's a Jedi. He force choked. Therefore, Jedi's force choke.
Hey. If the canon is the movies, and the only person who's ever force choked is a Sith.
No, Luke was a Jedi. He force choked. Therefore, Jedi's force choke.
No. Only Sith.
No.
That's the Sith power.
Luke proved that Jedi's
like
can do it too.
Shooting lightning is a Sith power. No Jedi ever does that.
What do you think Yoda does?
He shoots the lightning back at him.
He's shooting stuff out of his own fingers.
Yeah, but he's taken the Sith lightning from...
Sorry, dude. You just got proven wrong. I'm sorry. You got proven wrong.
Okay, guys. Go and make comments. We don't have a chat room. But if we did, go in there and let us know. Watch that scene with Yoda. Is he manufacturing?
He totally is. It pushes back on what's his name?
He pushes it. Yeah, he collects it into a ball.
No, just stop it.
Dragon Ball Z.
Stop it.
Actions happening.
Oh my gosh.
So he does. He contains it and fires it back at him.
No.
It is.
No.
Yeah, Jedis don't shoot lightning.
They shoot fire. Same thing.
Where do they shoot fire? I forgot.
Yoda.
He shoots fire?
It's fire. In episode 2, when he's fighting whatever.
Yeah, but that's lightning, right?
No. Well,
does he actually shoot fire?
What's the guy's name? What's the evil guy's name in that one?
Yeah, I didn't like that dude. Dooku.
Yeah, Dooku. So Dooku shoots lightning, he shoots fire. So Jedis can shoot fire.
Okay, so I'll give you
same
that,
thing.
but not lightning. See, there's
it's
a
the same
thing.
Maybe the way it shows up for Yoda, because he's small and green, is fire, and a human, it shows up as lightning.
No,
same thing.
Clearly,
same thing. Same thing.
Just
same
like
thing.
the lightsaber colors.
Same thing.
The powers are different.
Yeah, well, they're supposed to be. Yeah, Yeah, it was originally blue for apprentice, green for master.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Samuel L. Jackson had to like ruin it. And he said in the interview, I told George Lucas, look, there's this big scene and I want people to be able to see me. And he was talking about, the big fight with all the little flying creatures or whatever.
I'm Samuel Jackson, fool.
Yeah, and he was like, I want people to see me. Give me a purple lightsaber. And he's like, okay. And that was stupid on George Lucas's part. He should have been like, no, shut up, fool.
Yeah. Yeah.
You get a green one.
Yeah, no, you are the chosen one, Samuel L. Jackson. You get your own. That's great.
Yeah. I'm just saying. So I don't know. I don't really care. I mean, the question is, will I see it day one or will I see it within the first week? Because obviously I'm going to see it.
My prediction is you're going to break down and see it day one.
There's a good chance. Just out of habit. But but I'll be protesting the whole time.
Yeah, but I think it may redeem it. So check this out, right? So,
well, I do believe that J.J. Abrams is the right guy. I just think that they should have apologized to us and redone Rian Johnson's movie.
Oh, wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, just apologize and redo it.
If he can explain, like, for example, like I said,
there's no gravity in space. The bombs cannot fall down. That's just so stupid.
There's special space bombs.
And apparently everyone can breathe in space. It doesn't matter that it's a vacuum. Hey, whip-de-doo.
Oh, science.
Oh,
harsh mistress. But it's funny because if we go back, like let's say we find out that Luke, his son was Kylo, and he sends to protect his two twins, much like he and Leia were separated to protect them, that Luke, he trains his son. Now, his son doesn't know he's a son because to protect him, he has him raised with Han and Leia as adoptive parents. They don't know, right? I mean, well, they know, but Kylo doesn't know, and Rey doesn't know that they're Luke's kids. But there's this. Let's put it this way: the only way that it makes sense for me that Luke gets broken and gives up is if Kylo Ren is his own son. And that when he sees the evil growing in him, he gets so discouraged. He believes that his own bloodline is so corrupted that it's irredeemable. And that's why he's going to kill him. Because he says, only one other time did I ever see this power. And of course, he's referring to Vader. And so my thought is that, yes, Luke is Kylo's dad. That's going to be the big reveal. And that what do you call it? Rey is his daughter. Mara Jade, who is the right hand of the Emperor. The Emperor's coming in somehow, whether by flashback or, like you said, holocron. Somewhere, I think we'll get the history of who Luke had kids with, and that's the rise of Skywalker. It's not which one of them is the Skywalker that rises; it's both of them.
Oh, it's interesting. Yeah. I can honestly tell you, I don't have a problem with that theory at all.
Yeah.
I really don't. I mean, okay, I could see Kylo Ren being his son. The part that kind of like would be just jacked up. Why then when Rey shows up on the island, does he not embrace his daughter? I don't buy the whole, hey, look, man, you're my kid, and I'm just gonna, throw the lightsaber behind me and walk off, and I don't even care about you. I don't buy it. You know?
Yeah. That part would be kind of. Except here's my one thought, and I totally agree with you there. Actually, let me start off and say, if that is the case, I do see that as a plot hole weakness. It would not be natural. It would not be right. But then you got to think, here's a guy trying to save the galaxy. And I think Luke, by hiding, they make the point that he's trying to save the galaxy. Now, Rian Johnson is such a horrible storyteller, such a bad filmmaker. I don't want to crap all over him. He's a human being. He's got feelings, whatever. But understand,
his millions of dollars do not get affected by his feelings. So don't even worry about it.
Correct. But here's the thing, right? It's just the vitriol that people show. Like, I was really upset, but I never attacked him. Like, here's the thing. He's a dude. I think he tried to make a good Star Wars film.
I don't think
failed.
he even tried. No, I think he intentionally tried to break it. I really do. That's why I'm not going to go see his series. I don't care.
Coming from the fans, though, in Disney. I think Ryan was a legitimate Star Wars fan. I think he was told throw everyone sideways, throw them completely.
Let's forget about the poor kids who were enslaved. You freed the little horse, kangaroo half breed for like 5 minutes, and you did your job. Dude, are you kidding me?
Dude. I hated all the social justice warrior stuff in it. Not going to lie to you. That was the most ridiculous part of that film. It was like, are we even in a Star Wars film? Like, knock it off. But here's
how about the little kid who, well, you know what? I got to sweep up now. So, I'm just going to telekinetic make the broom come over to my hand. I mean, it took Luke forever.
You know what was so bad about that too is it was also a Disney's nod to itself. Disney was going, hey, Mickey Apprentice, like the magic broom, like that was their hallmark from Fantasia, that was their symbol for a while. So it's kind of like, it's Disney saying, hey, we own Star Wars now, suckers.
Yeah.
So
we are the suckers.
It was literally them saying, hey, see this broom? Star Wars is in our hand. It doesn't matter if you don't like it. I think Star Wars really was pissing off the fan base on purpose. I mean, not
on purpose.
I do. And here's the thing. And Kathleen Kennedy,
I don't believe they did it on purpose.
What's that?
I don't believe they did it on purpose. I believe they didn't think they could do anything wrong.
I believe
it was arrogance on their part.
Yes, it was total arrogance. And when she got the fan backlash, the ugly things she said about the fans, you're just a bunch of babies that haven't grown up, and like it was terrible. It was the equivalent of Hillary calling people despicables, and it was really terrible. But anyways, going back to this, my theory was that Rian Johnson, terrible storyteller that he was in this film, all he had to do, because it's kind of between the lines, that what Luke is saying is the only way to stop the Sith is to stop making Jedis. If I stop, I thought I could train Jedis and bring hope and peace to the galaxy, but I realized, and he doesn't come out and quite say it like this, but it's what's read between the lines is he's saying, look, I realize the only way to stop the Sith, and that's my mission, is to stop training Jedis. And so that's why
that's a really bad philosophy, though, because I think,
of course,
you can look back over the Star Wars universe, and I don't believe they all descended from Jedis at all.
You're right. You're right. And I think that 100% right. But I think with his son turning to the dark side, assuming it is his son, I do think that was enough to cause more emotion in him than we give Luke credit for. So like when people are like, he wouldn't just quit after one thing failed, like a church planner. He basically, he would be like, if it were his son, it could be a deeper wound. Like my son was definitely turning the path of Vader, and I just couldn't live with that, so I had to kill him. Like,
okay,
then
but
it makes sense.
Why would he need to split up his kids and not let them know?
I don't think we know that yet.
That
I think we're going to find that out in this film.
They won after Return of the Jedi. They won.
Right. I think he knows, and this is what I'm saying, I think he knows he can still feel the Emperor in the universe. I think the Emperor was able to somehow gather his Force essence, because he goes into that energy. I think when we see that blue explosion, the Emperor transfers himself into Force energy. And because remember, the Emperor's told us in episode 3 that he learned the secret of preserving life from Darth Plagueis the Wise. That he rises up and kills him.
So
what's that?
Didn't he kill Darth Plagueis?
Yeah, he says he stole all of his secrets from him, how to preserve life. And then he says, fool that he was, he could learn to save others, but he couldn't save himself. And in the way Ian McDermott says that is almost, you look at the expression on his face. I think Ian McDermott is an amazing actor. it's like he's saying, sucker, I figured it out, you know? And so I think it's keeping in line with it that the Emperor, and in the comics, by the way, that's what happens is Ian McDermott, the Emperor in the comic, there's a series called Dark Empire where he has clones. Because remember, the Empire uses clones. He has clone bodies waiting for him in case someone destroys his body. He's able to reassemble himself in a clone. And so the Emperor
why would it
comes
take
back
him so
young.
long to come back to power?
What's that?
Why does it take him so long to come back to power?
So I think what's happened is, this is me now. I think that scene.
You don't think this was all you?
We'll get to my Luke's not dead theory too in a minute. So here's the thing. When they show like the last scene on the ocean is this curvy thing. It looks kind of like rock. If you look closely, it's the Death Star. It's a remnant of the Death Star sticking up out of the ocean. I think the Emperor's in there, that he preserved a piece of that, and his energy is in that piece. Wherever that reactor part was, he's in that piece because there's a big chunk of it that blew off, and that he's been there doing Lord knows what, whether he has a clone or whatever, but he's been force manipulating the hologram of Snoke to power, and that he's in hiding, but that Luke knows that. And so Luke split his kids up, knowing that the Emperor would, and did, in fact, through Snoke, go after Kylo, but doesn't know where Rey is. And so obviously, Kylo would be easier to find because he's with Luke, and powerful Jedi can sense each other. And of course, that's so Luke goes into hiding. No one knows where he is. He's got his 2 kids in hiding, and it's to protect, and it's to stop the Sith from getting to them. That's my theory. And Luke's not dead.
Well, I would hope that Luke isn't dead, because to me, that was just like the worst way to go out. Like, it doesn't even make any sense to me at all.
And here's the thing. Rian Johnson, he was a little snarky, but he was not Kathleen Kennedy. I think Ryan knows when this next film comes out, you guys are you may not have liked the pace of my film. You may have thought it had too much social justice, but you guys are going to get it then. That I tricked you all into kind of like at the end of Empire, where y'all thought, because JJ's going to bring it back. I always knew JJ would bring it back. I knew he would fix it. I was just pissed off that I had a sucky Star Wars movie in the middle of it. You know what I mean? My emotion comes out here.
I would be greatly encouraged if your theory was correct. I mean, clearly she's a Skywalker, hence the name Rise of Skywalker. I like the idea of them being twins, because he knows about a girl, because he alluded to that Kylo in The Force Awakens. He's like, what girl? Like, he knows about a girl. We don't know exactly what it is. In the second one, there's like some sexual tension between the two, with his like force projection to each other with the shirt off and stuff. But that would kind of fit with Luke and Leia kissing. I mean, apparently it runs in the family.
So funny.
So
that's so funny the way you put that. That's great.
Well, come on.
What it was. Oh my gosh. I never thought of it that way. That's so what they're doing.
That was what they were doing. So, I mean, I could see them. I could see them being twins, and I like your backstory. I mean, I actually really am encouraged by the backstory. If that was legit, but then why didn't they just go kill the Emperor? I mean, they had like 30, 40 years to go kill the Emperor. Like, finish him off. Why not finish him off? I don't get it.
That's the question. Is I think his Jedi school, he was getting ready to take down. Well, so here's the question. This is what I don't actually know. Is it the New Order? Is that what it's called? The New Order? Did the New Order rise up after Luke went into hiding? First Order. Yeah. Did that rise up after Luke disappeared? Was that kind of the impetus? Like, okay, well,
Well, see, that was one of the plot holes in the first one. It was like, okay, you already defeated the bad guys. How did all of a sudden, not only do they end up with a whole planet the size of the Death, or doing what the Death Star did, but they got a big enough army and blah 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 blah. That was just a plot hole. JJ,
please do not make another Death Star. We're over the Death Star. Don't make a Death Moon. Don't make a Death comet, don't make a death, whatever stellar body's out, a death black hole, that actually might be cool. But please don't make any death things that have to be blown up. We've done that. We've been there. Please make it all about Jedi and lightsabers and fights.
Yeah. I'd like to see the Greys. The Grey Jedi. That would be cool if they'd bring those in.
See, now I kind of think, brother, that the Greys is what naturally happens to a Jedi when they leave, like after Order 66. I think all those guys became Grey. Because, like, if you think about it, like if you watch Star Wars Rebels, that's kind of what happens. And I think Luke, even though he's a Jedi, I do think that Luke, because he studied all of the knowledge and came to I think Luke actually is more of a Grey now. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Not that he's evil, but I think he is.
Yeah, they have a different code. I don't think Luke's code changed, though.
Yeah, you're right. I totally agree with you there. I totally agree. He now in the comic, which I do think you should read because it's just freaking rad. When the Emperor comes back in that clone body, we got to get back to whether or not Luke's dead. But as an aside here, when Luke goes and serves the Emperor, because after the Emperor comes back in that clone body, Luke thinks to himself, okay, the only way I can take him down is to get really, really close to him, become his apprentice, and slay him like a Sith Lord would. And then he'll be done. Like, I'll close off, I'll know all of his secrets, I'll close off all of his escapes. And that whole comic series, like a 6-issue, it's a masterpiece. The artwork on it is rad. Luke is creepy as heck when he's evil. He's kind of majestic and evil, and it's rad, dude. I don't know how to put it, but he studies all of the Sith holocrons, and he masters all of the Sith powers, and it's pretty dang cool. And I won't give it away, but there's kind of this sense in which he's gone too far and he can't come back, and it's really cool. So, if you get a chance, that's a cool little fun thing to do on a rainy day.
Yeah, I don't know. So, what's your theory on what happened to Luke if he's not dead?
I think Luke is not dead, and here is why.
He force projected himself somewhere.
I do. I think that he went somewhere else, whether he goes back into hiding, or maybe I wonder if he goes back to the Jedi school. If he transports him, and where we find him next is he's like, we need to rebuild. Because I don't think he's dead. He's obviously
so they don't need to use a starship to get anywhere. He could just, hey, look, I'm teleporting myself. Woo.
Yes. Well, and okay, so think this through for a second. Yeah, it seems like, dude, what? But think of it. No. He's been there with those books for decades now.
The books weren't that big. It was like A Tale of Two Cities and Swiss Family Robinson, and there you go. That's all the Jedi knowledge.
So what in Star Wars lore, though, there was a golden age of the Force. The ancient knowledge of the Force is much more powerful than the current knowledge of the Force. And so when he gets hold of those books, like, remember, this place isn't even charted. Like, Luke didn't remove that star system. That star system was purposefully hidden ages ago.
You're talking about the cloners?
Yeah, that island he's at, the original.
Oh, no,
Jedi
that
Temple.
wasn't hidden. The map to him was hidden.
Well, but here's the thing: is nobody knew where this place was.
No, I don't think it was that. I think it was literally the map. I mean, it was a big universe. We don't know which planet he's on.
Oh, could be. But Luke finds it, and Luke finds it because I think he's powerful enough in the Force. I think he finds it, or maybe someone told him. I don't know. That'd be an interesting story. But the reality is, he goes there and he learns as much as he possibly can about the Force. I think he's able to do things now where we're like, dude, what in the heck? Because they did say that the future of Star Wars would explore new Jedi powers. And that's kind of cool. As long as they don't, like you said, make it to the point of ridiculousness, where it's like everybody's Superman, and
It
then
would
it's not
be
like,
ridiculous if he doesn't need a ship to get anywhere, because then that doesn't explain why even Palpatine needed a ship to get anywhere. You know,
Right.
it just,
yeah,
to me, that would, I understand if they got to do that to like unscrew Ryan Johnson's screw up. I'd be okay with it in that one instance, but that shouldn't be like a regular thing.
right. No, I got you. And here's the thing: if Luke, because the implication was this took so much energy out of him that he died. Oh, it was too much for poor Luke. I'm like, bull crap. You know, Luke's not. He's not gonna like kill himself. At this point, in one sense, you're like, okay, Obi-Wan did that for Luke. Great. Maybe Luke did it for Rey, and there's kind of that synonymous. But where in the frick was his hand when he died? His mechanical arm, his clothes, and his lightsaber. But where in the heck? Like, you cannot tell me Ryan Johnson was that big of an idiot where he's like, oh, you know, I forgot all about the mechanical hand. He's not dead. He's not dead. And JJ, even if it was a mistake, JJ's like, you sucker, you just left me the opening I needed. Because JJ told us ages ago Luke wasn't supposed to die. So I think either that was intentional and we were tricked by Ryan. Again, that's my Ryan is tricking us theory. And he comes back and says, okay, guys, give me your apologies. Okay, I made a crap film, but I didn't ruin Star Wars. Come on. You know, like JJ and I talked about this, boom, boom, boom. But JJ can't say anything and Ryan can't say anything because part of the Star Wars deal is absolute secrecy. He'd blow it if he came out and defended himself over it. And Ryan has remarkably stayed quiet about defending himself. He just said, look, let me tell the story. You know, that was kind of his deal back then. I had a job to do. I told a story. You know, just let me tell the story. Let it play out. That's what he kept saying. Let it play out. JJ will be back. You know, and I just think that Luke's not dead and we see Luke come back and we get the Luke we wanted.
I really hope that in the next movie they have another slow speed chase, because to me that was the most riveting part of Ryan's movie, was just, you know, well, we can't quite catch the ship in front of us. I know we got light speed.
That's the worst. Is it was so bad. It was such a bad film. And then, let's go to Can't-I Bite and you know, meet this character called Don't Join, wink, wink, isn't that clever? We'll call him DJ. You won't care about him, and he'll be annoying and have a weird Star Trek costume and go, that'll be his thing, you know, his gimmick. It was just so bad, dude.
And somehow they can leave a ship and catch up to it, but the guys chasing them can never get to him. It's like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? That's so bad.
Let's just wait for him. Hey, you know what? You know what the cool thing is? The tension. They're going to run out of gas. And there's no, get this. And there's no gas stations in space.
Dude, there's never been a ship that's run out of fuel until now. It's like, are you kidding me?
Oh my gosh. Oh, it's so bad. Like, why couldn't you have someone else? Like, couldn't you like call someone in another system? Hey, mercenaries, bounty hunters, will you please bring us a tank of gas? You can dock to us and fuel us up. You can light speed next to us. And like, why couldn't they just light speed a little bit? You know, like, we'll light speed a couple miles, catch right up to them within range. Come on.
Jump in front of them, maybe? I don't know. You going to tell me these TIE fighters, launch it?
They could have literally, if they can track them, they could literally have done like a triangle, like a 2-point turn. They could have gone slightly to the left and jumped to light speed slightly ahead of them, and then come back and cut them off.
Oh, yeah, totally.
That's a good point.
Oh, so, and then the captain going down with the ship. Well, doesn't that mean Leia needs to go down with the ship? Why was it the other lady? She wasn't in charge. Leia's in charge. Leia should have been the one.
She handed off to her, didn't she?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter. Leia was fine. She came back.
And at that point, I don't remember.
But Leia's like, no, not my life. Your life. That's the one who's going to sacrifice here.
Yes. I now promote you to Admiral.
It's just like, what? What? Oh, that was such a horrid movie. I love how the gal who played Rose is like, leave me alone. I'm going off of social media.
Oh yeah, poor thing. She was so, and she's not that bad of a character. It was just the thing.
She was. It was that bad of a character. Come on.
As a character, she was okay. Like, I didn't mind her. It was just the things they made her do. Go to Canavite and be all concerned about the horses. Other than that, like when you watch the initial
horse kangaroos.
Right. When you watch the initial scene, though, I gotta say the initial scene between her and Finn when Finn's trying to sneak off, and
that was the only good scene, sure, with her.
That was cute. Like that was actually cute, where she's like, "Hey, you're a hero," and then she stuns him because she realized actually you're trying to get away. I actually really like that scene, But yeah, and I kind of did like the fact that she saves him and kind of says to him, "Hey, I ain't gonna let you die." Like that part was kind of cool.
No, that was stupid. Let him die.
You didn't like that.
What's up with Poe like hugging BB-8 in whichever movie that was? I think it was like, I'm gonna have BB-8, buddy, it's you. Let me give you a big hug, you round ball of metal. I mean, come on.
For those of you new to the podcast, Pete is not a big fan of hugging, whether it's between men and men, men and even women, not his wife, and men and robots. Not a big fan.
I'm just saying it's ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Oh man, that's funny. That's funny.
The coolest power I thought was when Kylo Ren in The Force Awakens stops the laser beam that got shot out of the stormtrooper's gun, and like it's just hovering there in the air.
Okay, so
that I thought was
trailer,
cool.
We really haven't talked about the trailer, funny enough. I mean, okay, he's rebuilding the freaking helmet. And I love that JJ's like, no, screw that. You're not breaking my cool helmet. Because that was the Kylo Ren that was majestic. I'll never forget my first shot that I saw. Barry Waters sends me this picture. Hey, check out who Kylo Ren is under the mask. And I go, get out of here. Knock it off. That is so not Kylo Ren. Because, you're seeing in the trailer. You see that in the trailer where he stops the laser. And you're like, whoa, Because we saw laser bounce off Darth Vader's hand in Empire.
Right, yeah.
But when he stops it midair, you're like, and then he goes about his business and just holds it there. You're like, oh, dude, dude. You're so excited.
You're like, he's powerful. That's all there is to it. He's powerful.
And then he takes off his helmet, and I have to so not say what I want to say right now. But you see his face, and you're like, no, that's like in, that's like when Master Blaster takes his helmet off, which actually is freaking rad, and he has Down syndrome, in Thunderdome, and that's like one of the coolest plot twists ever, right? When Master Blaster, but it makes him like a child, and you're like, oh, and that's what the movie's going for. But when Kylo Ren takes his helmet off, you're like, oh. It's not really the effect that I think you were going for.
The other thing, too, that I didn't understand in the Last Jedi, okay, Snoke's dead. Why are his guards now going to fight to the death? You missed your job. Like, your job was to protect him. He's dead now. Time to get out of Dodge. That's all I'm saying.
No.
Yes.
Those guys should have freaking kneeled when that happened.
Oh,
they should have just fallen to their knees and knelt and bowed their heads in front of him. How rad would that have been?
Like they just follow the most powerful guy?
Absolutely. Like
I would never trust them as my bodyguards. I'd be like, you guys get the heck out of here. Your job is to protect me. You didn't do squat for Snoke.
And about that scene, while we're on it, about that scene, the millennials are convinced, sorry, millennials, because I know you guys do rad things for the kingdom, but you're wrong on this. But the millennials are convinced that was the best lightsaber scene ever. And I'm like, dude, you guys are so freaking nuts.
Oh, my gosh.
Oh, Pete, just enlighten us. What was the best lightsaber scene ever?
Well, besides Rogue One's?
Oh, yeah. No, that's a good point right there.
That was the best lightsaber
I kind of got to agree with you. I agree with you. I never thought about it.
Even though there was no other lightsaber in it, didn't matter. It was the best scene ever.
Never thought about it that way. You were 100% right. You've just converted me.
Nice. Nice. I finally got a conversion under my belt. Cha-ching.
Okay, so but aside from that, what was the best Star Wars lightsaber scene? Best lightsaber battle.
Best lightsaber battle. I would say either Skywalker and Vader in Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
Or I'd even say Dooku versus Obi-Wan and Anakin. I thought was a pretty good one too.
That is a good one. Yes, that's a very good one. And the way it ends, where he cuts his hands off.
Yeah, where he, he totally wins. I mean, like decisively. And then in the next movie, when Anakin fights Dooku again, it's like so dramatic the other way. You're like,
Right.
wow, okay, Anakin is now way more powerful.
Yeah, totally. I agree. The best lightsaber battle, like I love Jedi's lightsaber battle. I mean, I just don't think you can improve on.
You mean when he fought Darth Vader in Jedi right before?
So good, and the drama and the action and the rage. Oh my gosh! The filming, even that. That one scene where Luke's going nuts on Darth Vader, and the camera's panning across that catwalk as he's doing it. That is such a rad camera angle. But I agree. I actually think Empire, though, if I had to pick one, that one is just so good because of the despair that's in it.
Yeah.
Where Luke's just realizing, I can't, like, there's just no chance. And Luke, Yoda warns him, you're not ready. Like, you can't win this, and, oh, dude. So for those of you that are going, oh, when he fights the Emperor's bodyguards, that's the best. Wasn't even a lightsaber battle. They had weird chain samurai purple energy weapons. Please, Ninja, please.
See, that was the thing that I really didn't like that JJ brought into The Force Awakens, where all of a sudden stormtroopers got tools that can like fight against a lightsaber. It used to be the lightsaber is the king of the weapons. Right. Period. And you needed to fight someone with another lightsaber or forget about it. And he's like, no, now we got these cool little plastic things that have little energy beams. And you can fight a lightsaber with that. I didn't like that. Didn't like that at all.
Right. I totally agree, dude. 100, not even 100, but 100%.
Yeah.
Hey, so kind of cool thing. This past week, switching topics if we think we beat that to death.
I actually can't believe we talked as long as we did about what I thought was a horrible trailer.
Yeah, it's so funny, dude, because guys, before this, I call Pete and he goes, what's the topic? And I go, Star Wars. Which is our tradition. And Pete goes, I don't think we can talk for an hour. And I go, oh, I think you'll change your mind when you hear what I have to say. So I'm pretty proud of myself. Right now,
be proud.
I'm proud. Yeah, definitely good talker. Definitely talk about Star Wars. Yeah, hot date with Star Wars.
So what were you going to say? What was the other thing?
Well, I was going to say kind of a cool little deal. A not so cool deal is my uncle passed away. They lived in Wetumpka, Alabama, a famous home of the movies such as Glass Harp, which is not a famous movie at all.
Yeah, I was like, man, I don't even know what that is.
It's a B film that what's the guy from Titanic? That guy that got he's in what's the Dream movie? I know some of you are going to write us hate mail on Inception. You're like, dude, you can't call it the Dream movie. It's the best movie ever made. But I'm not a fan of him, really. There's been a few things he's been in I think are great. But Inception, that dude, he was in it. Wasn't a great movie. But the movie that most people know that was filmed there was Big Fish by Tim Burton. Movie about being disconnected from your father, which all people relate to. I was in Wetumpka for a funeral and stayed right down the street from where all that movie was filmed. And just got to kind of go and walk around a little bit in Wetumpka and see it. And then I got on the plane and lo and behold, what movie was there? Big Fish. So I got to watch. I watched the first 20 minutes and the last 20 minutes, cried like a baby, got embarrassed, shut it off. Nothing like daddy issues, baby.
Oh no, that was funny.
So that was my big highlight of my week.
Yeah.
Other than the obvious, the Star Wars trailer.
Yeah, I didn't have nearly the highlights that you had. Started my shooting ministry last night.
Did you really?
By making Paul Percy come with me to the range.
You did. I did think that was kind of like a bonding experience for ministers.
I'm telling you, he goes. So what exactly did you want to do for the shooting ministry? And I go, I really didn't have any other idea than, hey, let's go hang out with all these guys and get to know them. I'm like, that's as deep as it goes, baby. That's as deep as it goes.
Well, actually, I think there is something. I do think that pastors need. I think if you seriously, like, no joke, if you had something like that for pastors, or they could get together and just do that on a regular basis for just the fellowship with dudes that don't want anything from them, fellow pastors know and for you, I mean, you're a breath of fresh air for any pastor, because when you and I started hanging out, like, over the years, when you're in ministry, there just are fair weather friends and people who they mean well, but they really want something from you. Either you're the stairway to their climb to power, or your opportunity for them, or you can give things to them, you can give them knowledge, you can train them, but it's rare, and you start to recognize that people that are just your friends, that whether you can do something for them or not, you connect with them, you would just be friends no matter what. And so when you and I started kind of becoming friends, you're like, yeah, my dad was a pastor. So off the bat, I'll just tell you, I have just the right amount of respect and disrespect for you at the same time. And that was like music to my ears. I'm like, oh, this dude and me are going to be friends.
I think we've hit on the disrespect more than the respect, though.
Well, like, it's funny now because I think about this. Sometimes I think, because I started off as your pastor, and there's times I think, should I still pastor him?
Kind of not. I mean,
I kind of, it's funny because I've literally absolved all of that, but I still, like, you're still my brother and you're still my friend. And I still, like, I would still look out for you. I would still make sure if there was a serious issue, I'd be like, hey, dude, we need to talk about that because you're my brother, but I don't pastor you anymore, but you're still my friend. And I got to say, I only have on one hand, I got a few fingers left on one hand that would be opportunities for that kind of relationship, because I only have like 3 people in my life where I'm like, this dude's just a friend. And ministry aside, this dude's just my friend. He's always going to be my friend. And so even my wife approves of our friendship. My wife has told me repeatedly, you need Pete in your life. And
that's never been spoken of about Pete before.
Well, I was going to say, Pete's usually used to people's wives saying, I don't like you hanging out with that Pete Mitchell.
I know,
right? I'm still getting over my cold, so when I laugh, I start wheezing. Wheezy. Remember George on the Jeffersons? Wheezy, I'm coming. But here's the thing is, I think what you're doing on it will fill. Like, no joke, I think if you had Justin there, Paul, some other people, other pastors, and this is just what we do. Pastors need that, and it's fun, and it's just something you can do as dudes. And I literally do think you might have a ministry there, and it's more just and friendship and
guns and pastors.
Bust out the big guns,
dude. No, it was fun because last night, the range that we were at hasn't. They used to have monthly competitions because another vendor put them on, and they haven't had them in several months. And so it was packed. There was literally 31 people in this competition, and normally you might have, 10 to 15. So, like, there were only 4 events that we could do because there's so many people. You got to get through everybody, and you're supposed to be done by 9. We were there till 9:40 finishing up everything. And so it just, it was packed. Like, you could barely walk around the only place where you're, allowed to walk around. There were that many people there, but it was cool. It was a lot of fun. And it was funny because when Paul showed up, I like messaged him earlier. I'm like, hey, bring a holster, a mag pouch, and as many mags as you got. And he goes, well, I got that holster that you gave me a long time ago. I don't know what a mag pouch is, and I got 2 magazines. And I'm like, okay, I'll bring extras.
That's rad.
Because I'm like,
Pete has enough for everybody. Trust me.
Yeah, that's not enough, man. And it was just funny because I'm like, okay, now I probably shouldn't have asked you to come to a competition as your first thing. I'm like,
that's bad. His goal was not to be last, and he said, I made it. I was 29 out of 31.
Yeah, I'm like, so here's the thing, man. When you draw from the holster, go slow. I'm like, don't shoot. And by the way, when you put the gun back in your holster, make sure your shirt isn't in the way, because you got a Glock. That means it could pull on the trigger, and then you shoot your leg. So I'm like, I'd
be the guy that does that.
I'm like, just go slow. Just like, I probably should have taken you to something else first. But it was fun, man. I mean, we were shooting balloons.
Fun, dude, watching you do it, because he got a rad video of you.
Yeah.
That was rad. You were popping those balloons, man.
Yeah. No, that one cool. I did pretty good on. I got to look at what my score was on that one. I screwed up on 2 of the events, and that's what cost me a top 5 listen. Like, I would have made top 5 if I hadn't royally screwed up. And one of them was, I grew up in the generation where Keanu Reeves was really important to us. We saw the movie Speed, so I shot the hostage. I shot the hostage, and I tried to explain to everyone where I shot the hostage. He's totally going to live. Like, no chance he doesn't live. But
you're going to have that conversation as they're taking away in the ambulance. Hey, dude, sorry I shot you in the leg, but,
Harry,
I did save your life.
You told me to. Sorry.
Shoot me. It's funny, man, because, I mean, anything like that, I think, is gonna be a good move. Like, part of me is, as we're just as you said that, like, you said it kind of jokingly, but I'm thinking, no, there's legitimacy to what you're saying. Man, it would be rad. Like, and I do nerd things, so it'd be like, I've still not played Dungeons and Dragons since I was like 10, but I'm thinking, man, I would 35 years later love to get a bunch of pastors together who aren't nerds and play. You know what I mean?
Dungeons and Dragons. I was so not allowed to play that. I don't even think I was allowed to mention the name Dungeons and Dragons in my house growing up.
Yeah. Dungeons and Dragons is the devil. Dude, by the way, I downloaded so many quotes from that movie recently. I just need a soundboard, Pete. I really do.
You do.
Bobby Boucher, girls are the devil. That one scene where he goes, I don't know if I mentioned this last week on the podcast, where he goes, Mama, tell me about the time that Ben Franklin invented electricity. No, fool. She goes, Ben Franklin didn't invent electricity. She goes, your mama invented it. Ben Franklin's the devil.
Oh, man. Well, hey, here's my question for you. When you're doing all this nerd stuff, how do you make sure that your church is taken care of and someone's taking care of all of your bookkeeping and payroll and those tax receipts that got to go out every year? Who does all that for you?
Well, Pete, I hire professional nerds.
What?
There's a whole slew of professional nerds over at simplifiedchurch.com. They handle all of your nerd things that when you're a real cool, hip, ultra smooth church planner and you don't have time to do all those nerd things, there's a team of professional nerds. You pay them, they do your nerd tasks. That means IRS compatibility, bookkeeping, even payroll. Head on over to simplifiedchurch.com, the professional church planner nerds.
And I think you can just wrap us up from there.
Hey, guys, this has been a very special edition of the Church Planner Podcast. I had to think about that for a second. Reminding you, the Star Wars edition, that if you want to watch Star Wars, you need to go to Star Wars films, make Star Wars films nobody else is making. Thank you, JJ. And that's it. I blew it.
And do what no one else is doing.
The podcast is all around us. It moves through us. Luminous beings are we. That is why you fail. Plant or plant not. There is no try. Pete Mitchell is my pastor. Wise in the use of the Force. He is.
So rad.
Thanks for joining us for another weekly episode of the Church Planter Podcast with Pete Mitchell and Peyton Jones. We'd love to hear your comments on this episode of the Church Planter Podcast. Visit us online and let us know what you thought at churchplanterpodcast.com. If you subscribe to us via iTunes and have enjoyed the podcast, leave us a positive review. The more positive reviews we receive in iTunes, the more iTunes will promote us to other church planners who would benefit from this show. This podcast is brought to you by the Church Planter Magazine, which is available in the iTunes newsstand or online via churchplantermagazine.com.